tired. What am I, a bike? Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 7. It's a full week. That's a full week of doing this. Anyhow, as I said in the ending of the last video, on day 6, I want to start out very simple. We're starting out properly making our first game, but in order to make our first game, I just want to set up like a little area, a little place to walk around in, which requires a couple things. 1 being a place, 2 being walking around. I'm really bad at this. So, me right now, me with my hair down, I'm beautiful. This is all editing Alex right now. Never thought I'd have to do this, but this video was an absolute mess. So if y'all remember me saying in the previous video, the goal for this week was to make a map and make a character to walk around in it, which seems off the top of my head such like a simple basic thing to do that we can like whip up maybe in a couple hours. My recording sessions I usually try to keep to like hour and a half, but I was thinking like, okay, if we need to, we can stretch to 2 hours. That should be fine. I recorded for 4 hours over the course of 3 days, trying to get only one of these things done. And upon trying to edit down all that stuff, I figured that this kind of little voiceover thing or coming in intermittently was necessary because there's a lot of stuff that happened and there's a lot of nothing that happened for a very long time. And I'd figure I'd just kind of walk and talk you through the journey of making a character walk. So it all started later last week on Thursday, the day before the video was supposed to come out. And I gave a little plan, a little lowdown of all the things that I wanted to do. Like I said, I just wanted a forest path that comes up to a cave, and I kind of laid it out all in MS Paint, everyone's favorite fully featured Microsoft program. Looking at this top down, I kind of want to make like, basically, imagine there's like a hill thing right here with, and there'd be kind of like a door kind of deal here, right? Cliff ledge area that leads off this way. Over here's a bunch of trees and stuff. Trees. And I wanted to have the player character be able to walk around in that space, which seems fairly simple and straightforward. I was wrong. So I figured a decent place to start would be like to make the trail, the map area. Apparently Unreal Engine's now in 5.6. Neat. Yeah, while that is doing its thing, in the last video on day 6, Oliver Dive left a comment in the video about a Unreal Engine tutorial that they were using to get like a good intro to the software, and it's this particular video right here. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. It's this particular video right here. It's 5 hours long, as you can see. That being said, a lot of the stuff we kind of already knew from before. Granted, it's been a long time since I've touched Unity, but a lot of the stuff we found from a different tutorial. But it did seem like a decent thing to look at and follow along with, because he does this whole great job of making this entire scene. And this is kind of like exactly the thing that we're going to be, these are exact kind of tools that we're going to be wanting to use to make our starting scene for this game. So I pulled up this video that Oliver Dive had recommended. Thank you, Oliver Dive, by the way. I very much appreciate it. However, the video went on about a bunch of stuff that, I don't know, it was kind of like a full 5-hour long tutorial video that I started getting into, and at some point I hadn't got much done and I had to go to work. So that was kind of the end of that recording session. I'm going to stop recording for now, and I'm going to come back to this probably tomorrow morning. But later that day, I did come back to recording to try to finish it all up. And this time I was set on, okay, we're going to set aside the whole map and trail thing. We're just going to make a character or player character, we're just going to make them walk around. That was the whole entire idea, and started off fairly well, I think. Hello. Okay, I went to work earlier. I'm back, and we're getting back to this. There was a jump. So we have this landscape. We need to figure out a place to start. I think a decent place to start. Let's literally just try to make it so we can walk around. I think that's like a good. We just want to be able to walk around. We want to play our character. We want to start there. Let's start there. And I knew there was the first person demo that we had touched on in the second video that we'd seen before. And so that's been lingering around in the background of Unreal this whole time. And I figured, hey, what better place to learn how to do this than to take a look at the first person demo and see how it's done in the demo, right? Right? Let's go to the first person demo. I thought about looking up a video, but I think I'm just gonna look up or go back because we have like this first person demo where like we already had someone running around, so we might as well try to use it real fast. Going back to my preferred method of figuring things out, which is just kind of screwing around until something starts kind of working. Okay, already we're off to a good start. We'll just close that and pretend it's not an issue. So I do end up looking at the first person demo, but there's several things in the coding there that I didn't fully understand, and I realized I would have to kind of get a better idea of how this blueprint system works, because this is kind of our first time working with it. Okay, we might have to actually look this up. Because the player start, I'm noticing right now, there's the player start thing, which we had in the other map. All right, so it's official. We're gonna have to look up a tutorial for this. Cool. All right, we can do that. If you don't know, the blueprint system in Unreal is basically a way of visualizing code. Unreal scripts usually work in C++, the coding language, but you can use blueprints to just basically visualize all of that coding, and it's really great for me because I hate coding. But I also love coding. It's just the interface is really difficult to interact with, and being able to look at it in this visual way, it's a lot easier to absorb, and a lot easier, more importantly, to understand exactly what is going on, why things are happening, how your code is affecting other things, that kind of stuff. So I'm not getting super far with the first person demo, and eventually I find a video on the Unreal Engine website, the kind of one of the tutorial thing, and I started following that around for a little bit. I know I can go to the first person template to make that and it'll just be there, but I feel like I should probably know how to actually do that. So I'm trying to find a tutorial to kind of show us how to make that happen. Okay, it seems like this is the section where you start getting into that. Now, at some point, my eyes are starting to glaze over a little bit. This was after work, mind you, and my meds were running out, and I was going to come back to this the next day. I'm going to have to come back to this tomorrow morning. Actually, the day after the next. Hello. Okay. This is the third day. Oh boy, I'm trying to get a simple thing done, and this is turning into quite an ordeal. Yeah, remember at some point I said like, oh, we're gonna, make a character, we're gonna make a little environment for us to walk around in. We're cutting all of that. We're just trying to make a person walk. Or the player. We're just trying to make a player walk around. That's all we're gonna do, and oh boy, this is, it's really become a thing. Ugh. All right, so I should back up a little bit. I understand there is I can go to the first person demo, and it has a first person character that spawns in when you start the game, and you can walk around and all that jazz. And I could copy that over, and that is a valid thing to do. But I want to know how to actually make the character, and this whole blueprint system that Unreal has going on, I'm gonna need to start fiddling with it at some point. in order to kind of figure out better how it works. So I figure setting a character down and being able to walk around should be pretty simple. It should be fairly straightforward, but it also is like a very basic thing, like a kind of building block thing. And I want to make sure I like get this down so I know how to do it in the future, so I don't have to keep I don't want to have to keep like copying over the same asset from the same demo over and over again just to figure out how to plop a character down. So this is literally all we're doing this week apparently.
But now let's switch gears and begin with the gameplay. Before we start, let's press play and see what happens. So those 3 we want to replace with our own. In the project settings, under game mode,
let's go in here. Look, we're just going to follow along with what this guy is saying. Content, what the hell is all this? No idea, but we are going to make a new folder. Just going to follow along with what's going on with this stuff, right? Framework. All right. For our purposes, I'm not sure exactly we need the game mode thing, but
this
right now,
BP game mode.
We'll throw it on. So I'm following along with this new tutorial I found in order to get a just idea of how to set up this game thing, and after a bit of tweaking, I'm able to get a few basic things together. That is the player character pawn, the player controller, as well as the game mode thing, and kind of a general idea of how these interact with each other. I get into it more later, but I get this thing going, and eventually, at some point, I'm able to finally hit the play button, and I can look left and right. My bad, hee. So now, we can look around. We can look around, guys. Holy sh! So that's progress. When you start up the game, I now can use the mouse to control the character, control the camera of the first person character looking left and right. Also, I'm moving backwards. That's because of a command I threw it in there to test movement. However, there was something bothering me about all this, because I went now with my newfound knowledge of how to get this camera moving left and right. I thought, okay, I think I'm starting to get a better grasp on it, and I go back to the first person demo and I go back to the blueprint, copy off the homework from before, to find it is totally different. It works in a completely different way. And what's more, the code looks so clean and a lot more efficient and less of a mess. Okay, so I can do what this guy is doing, where you have basically the player camera, like this would be like camera yaw and camera pitch, and then there'd be like 2 separate things here. But I am wondering if I can just call on this to, I don't know, okay, we'll see, hold on. I'm trying to make this into one thing as opposed to like 2 separate deals like it is here, because this will work, but it feels messy, and I feel like there's a way to do it better, as evidenced by camera input, enhanced input action on like the first person demo blueprint. And so I, with my infinite resolve, decide, okay, because this looks better and it looks like it'd be a better practice for later, I could just easily copy and paste the first person character from the first person demo into my project, but then I wouldn't know how to do that properly in the future if I needed to make something from scratch. Like, imagine every single time I started up a game, I couldn't just make a first person character. I would just be copying and pasting something from this demo project into mine. Like, what if I want to make tweaks? What if I need to do something else with it? What if I have a different purpose for it? And so I wanted to figure out how to make this work on my own, using the first person demo as a template and putting it all together myself from scratch. Right? This process was enormously difficult and took so much time, and a lot of it stemmed from not being able to find a very specific button. From here on, I'm going to let the edit just go of my journey through this process to demonstrate just how difficult and hard to grasp this entire thing was. Hope you enjoy. So let's real fast. Let's do player camera 1 and then execute this, add value to pitch input, right? We'll compile that, we'll save, and oh, I am just moving my mouse from left to right and it's doing this, and this is the only thing it can do. So clearly I am not on the right track. So let's back up. Okay, idea, let's back, oh, let's not get rid of that one. Let's back up real fast. We're gonna save that, we're gonna compile. I want to open the other project, the first person demo project. Okay, we have the first person demo up, and the one thing I just wanna look at, if we go to project settings and we go to input, what does this look like? Action. Now I'm even more confused, because this just, oh, good Lord. Now I'm more confused. First person blueprints. Wait, hold on, back up. What is that input thing? Huh. IMC default. This is something different. This is very different from how I'm seeing it everywhere else. But it also looks more efficient, I think. So if we open up the first person character blueprint, what in the world, there it is. IA look, oh my God. If we go to input, actions, look is right here. And if we click on it, open it up, what is this? How does this work? Input action. It's a logical representation of something the user can do, such as jump or crouch. These are what your gameplay code binds to in order to listen for input state changes. For most scenarios, your gameplay code should be listening for the triggered event on an input action. This will allow most scalable, customizable input configuration. Add different triggers for each input action. If we click on it, IMC default, input mapping context. So this is defining what IA look is. Input action underscore look is. So this is defining what these actions are. So real quick, just for the funsies, I'm going to set this over on the side here, and if I put it input mapping context, oh, whoops, test map, right, we open this up. Okay, mapping, so we add a mapping, create new asset. Sorry, I'm looking at this. Okay, so I thought you would just like go here and then you rename it to something, but it wants you specifically to create an asset, such as an input action that you'll put in, oh my God, input, we'll just call it new, actually, no, we can look at test look. Open this up, and we can specify mouse XY 2D axis. I think we've cracked it. I think we've cracked it. Okay, let's not save any of that, and let's go straight to recent projects. We're gonna go back to Spooky Cave Game. Man, this took a while. I think we have it. All right, can't help but notice once again that our level is not loaded. What's going on with that path? We're going to structure this in a way that's not silly. So we're going to establish good habits early on. First thing we're going to do, right, okay, so we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this blueprints. Then we're going to create another folder, and we're going to call this, I don't maps. I'm following what the first person demo was doing. And then we're going to create this last folder, and it's going to be called inputs. All these blueprints here, player controller, player, we had another thing at some point, but I don't know where that went. We're gonna grab these blueprints, we're gonna shove them in here to keep things organized. Right, so we have that. We have inputs and we have maps. So we wanna go in maps, and we want to create an input mapping context. And we're gonna call this, we'll go with like input action, movement, right? So we're gonna open this, we're gonna go to mappings. We're gonna create new mapping. We're gonna create a new asset called, create a new input action. We're gonna put it within our inputs folder. And this one's going to be called movement. And within movement, we're going to put a, okay, look is going to be mouse tracking 2D axis of the mouse. Wait, okay, I'm now realizing I completely misinterpreted a key thing on this. Whoop-dee! Input mapping context. I misinterpreted what it's meant by map earlier, so we're just going to change that real quick. And then one more, we're going to create an input action called IA jump. So I did notice what the modifiers do. Useful to map a 1D input onto the y-axis of a 2D action. I don't know what any of those mean, and we're going to hope it's not necessary. Right. Okay. Right. Camera input. So we're gonna get rid of this for now, and what we want, look. Oh boy. Okay, 1 second. 1 second, we're gonna have to go back to the other thing. Right, real quick, before we go back, I want to, project settings, description, maps and modes, editor startup map. Here we are. Can we go to path, please? Game default map is O1 path. Thank you. I promise we are so close. Oh my God, I promise we're close. We go to the first person character blueprint. IA look. So it's correct. So we do have that. We need action value X and action value Y. So how does it do that here? Input. IA jump. So if we're just looking at look, what does negate do? Let me look this up super fast, because I'm very curious. Unreal 5.6. Input mapping context, and then we want modifiers. Modifiers, what do these do? Alter the raw input values. Forcing the advanced input plugin has a variety of input monitors to perform tasks like changing the order of axes, implementing dead zones, and converting axial input to world space. By using negate to make some keys register as negative, and using the swizzle input axis values to make some keys register as y-axis instead of the default x-axis. We need to swizzle W and S, because x-axis, I assume it's just going to move left and right, but if we do y-axis up and down, up and or forward and back, we need to swizzle. Negate, I don't understand why we would do that. Using negate to make some keys registers as negative. Oh, right. S backward is the opposite. So W forward up is the default. S is the opposite, so we negate it. Right. Oh my God. Okay. This is starting to make sense. That's why these are here. So if we go in here and we go to our actions, let's do look, for example. Riches right now. Yeah, we This needs to be a 2D thing. Good lord, I think I get it. But we still have, oh wait, so if we, okay. There is one last thing. There's one last thing we need to check. Let's see if we can figure out before we move back to our thing. Because the first person character, if we look here, it has an action value X and an action value Y, and I need to know, and it's referencing this map right here, or not that one specifically, it's referencing this, look, action value X and action value Y, and I need to understand where that is coming from, because I don't know. Because on mine, it doesn't do that. Unless, perhaps, possibly, that's something that's controlled by this. Where look, X, Y, 2D axis, okay. Why is negate on the look one though? That's what I want to know. We're gonna go back to our game, and I think I have it now. I think I get it. I hope I get it. And we adjusted the thing, so now we're back on our actual thing we wanted. So real quick, we need to go to movement, and we need to modify these. WASD. So W and S. So W, we need to add a modifier that is a swizzle. Yes, that it responds to Y, and we also need to swizzle this one. Swizzle is such a fun word. Great job. We love fun words. So that's waxy. But we also need to add another modifier to this one that is negate. So this will be a positive input, so increasing the Y value, and this will be decreasing the Y value. I think A needs to be negated, and then D can remain the same. Down here, X, Y, 2D axis, swizzle input axis values. We might not need to do that. We will figure that out later. Do we need a modifier for this one? I don't think we did. Save. Okay, back to this. And we also need, also while I'm thinking of it, we need two inputs, we need actions, and we need to open up look. I'm just trying to get look working right now. Here it is. Bool, we need this as an axis 2D vector. Yes. That was intentional, that's meant to be. So now, if we call upon we go to inputs, enhanced action events. We call upon look. God, I'm like so close. I just need to know why this isn't showing like this one. So this one is the look for the demo, and I need to know why. Triggered, started, ongoing, canceled. Trigger, started, ongoing, canceled, completed. Action value. It's action value X and Y. I need to know why this is different for me. What am I missing here? There's something I'm missing. What is being done to this event that makes it so action value X and action value Y are added? Like, I am so close to figuring it out, and I think I have figured it out. It's just this one little hiccup right here. I don't know where these are coming from. And like, I keep looking around and like, I don't know what to look up to like find where these two little things right here that make this entire thing possible, to make it like as condensed as this. I don't know where they're coming from. I can't search for anything. I can't edit what I can't edit what it says. I can't edit what like points show up on it. And as demonstrated, if I just create a new one, I look, the same exact one, suddenly, like, and now it's reading something completely different. What's going on here? And see, IAMove has the same exact thing, right? So, we're gonna have to figure it out. Where is this coming from? And like, I just don't get where action value X and action value Y are supposed to be coming from. And I'm like, I've been recording for like 2.5 hours now today, and I just can't find an answer to this question. And all I want to do is make the inputs as streamlined as they are here, but I just cannot for the life of me figure out where this is coming from. Like these two little things right here, because the movement also uses them. And I just need to add these two floats, and I don't know where they're coming from. Like, I just want to be able to look around. Hello, one last visit from editing Alex, in the future real fast. I want to clarify something about this section. We're just trying to get looking around using the mouse working right now, right? And as I've demonstrated, there's these two little values, action value X and Y, that are on the event for the first person demo that control essentially, you know, when you move your mouse, it's keeping track of the X and Y axes of the mouse movement and converting that to camera movement, right? Makes sense. Which is where you need the X and Y value to show up. If you can't get those to show up, then you can't tell the camera pitch and yaw to do anything because they have no reference for what the value of your mouse movement is. This video was already super long, but I cut out so much stuff. You don't understand how long it took to finally get the answer to this question. It was a monumental task. However, I took a nap, and later in the day I came back to it, and we finally, well, you'll see just now. So I wanted to clarify real fast in case it wasn't obvious how much of a struggle what this was and what I was struggling with. It was pretty bad. Anyway, okay, I'm back again. I took a break, I took a nap, and I fiddled with this for just a second, and I finally figured out where I'm supposed to find the axes thing. Hold on, I'll just show you. Here's the whole deal. You go over here, you right click on action value, and you select split struct pin. And there they are. Oh! So we now found it. Granted, we still have some issues, but this is a start. I was looking at this tutorial right here from this guy. He's setting up a first-person controller in a totally different way. Completely different. That being said, I think I will go back here and like reference this stuff later. However, here's the thing. Like, I've looked at three different places. Anyway, I've seen like 3 different ways to set this whole thing up, and by far how they set it up, this is how it's like set up in the first person demo that comes with Unreal. This looks like just by far the easiest and most straightforward way to set it up. That being said, really fast. Okay, we're gonna save real quick. And I did realize at some point, for some reason, my game mode thing went away. So we are going to want to replace that. Yeah. BP. Game mode. I don't remember when that went away, but we're bringing it back. Right, and we need to make sure we do a few things. Player controller class, it'll be BP player controller. I finally realized why we're calling it BP because of blueprints. Yeah, BP player controller, default pawn class, BP player. So now, compile looking great. Okay, we need to run over here to edit, project settings, set this to the side, maps and modes, default game mode, BP game mode. Okay, it's done. So, okay, but going back here, we take action value X, that's yaw input. Yaw is, yeah, it's the yaw input. Take value Y, plug it in there. We can collapse that. What if we can create like a little point? Hold on, I want to go back to this. What is this? It's called a reroute node. That's what it is. What if I went to, okay, break this link. Reroute. Reroute. Boom. Clean it up a little bit. We finally have the one thing. Oh God, that took forever to find. We finally found it. The one thing we were looking for. So, right. I don't think this is yet correct, but just for funsies, let's see if we're able to look around. No. We need to do more than just this, but we are on our way. I think we have to do it via the player controller and put mapping context for player controls. So when we start, right, so on the player controller, we're going to get rid of these, but I'm just gonna simply build it the way they built it. Enhanced input local player subsystem. Enhanced local, get enhanced input local player subsystem. Right. Right. Add a control mapping context. Mapping context. There we are. Okay, we found it. Do this here, do a little reroute, and then plug that in there. Is valid. We're going to pop that in there. The only part I don't understand about this is the is valid part, but I think I understand the rest of it. And then the mapping context, we need to IMC default. That's the one we are using. Okay, the game starts and runs this, and this is checking is if there is a basically a local player subsystem. I don't quite know exactly what this is, but it's checking if this is valid, and if it is, add mapping context, which is what we are using this script generally, which we do need to go on. Enhanced, we want IA underscore movement. Now we're going to do this action value. Oh, and actually we need to adjust this. Wait, okay, sorry. Before we do anything, let's stop that. We need to see if this just works. Oh, and also compile and compile. Excellent, okay. Does this work? The answer is no. Oh, right, and also this. This would probably help if we actually sorted that out. Let's compile that. Now let's see if it works. We got it. Oh my God, we got it working. Okay, it does need to be inverted. I can see why they, because all my mouse movement is inverted right now. So let's go over here. Holy, we need to add another element. And this one is just negate. So now that we have negate on there, now we can come back here. Path. Not quite. So now when I up and down is left and right, and side to side is up and down. So we gotta fiddle with it. Okay, well we have the idea. We have the idea. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, real fast. When I got rid of the I got rid of the swizzle thing, and so I think So the side to side is still opposite. I think we just need to negate the y-axis. If I do that and I click, okay, up and down is working properly and side to side is working, and it's working. It's working. Oh my God. Oh, fuck. Ugh. That took way too long. See, like here's the thing, nobody is referring to how like in none of the tutorials I saw, no one was referring to this setup. When I keep looking at everyone else's tutorials and they keep talking about like, okay, you have to go to you have to manage the inputs from the project settings. Yeah, you have to manage the inputs from the project settings, and if you want to make it like, for instance, you can't just have character movement WASD spacebar SB forward W, and then you make another one backwards S, and like and that looks like a huge mess and so unnecessary. And how the first person demo is set up, it's so much cleaner, but I can just set it up this way and it works better and it's cleaner. And also I think this gives us more options for later in case we want to, player mappable key settings. And we can work with that later, whereas like if you do it from the project side, I'm not sure you have that level of flexibility. So now we can actually, okay, God, man, what a roller coaster. Okay, we're not done yet, but we're getting very close. So we have look settled. Now I just need to movement. This one, action value. We need to make this instead. We bring this over here, movement. We need to make this a 2D vector. Yes, and then this should all be mostly set up. We might have to add or like mess with the modifiers and stuff, but that should be mostly set up. Let's split the action value. Cool, so we have X and Y again, right? And what we want to do is, it's gonna be character movement. So add movement input is going to be the same for both of them. Get actor right vector. Boom. So we're plugging this in, and this is going to go to our other node here. That'll be, what's it called again? Add movement input. Movement input, if I can, okay, add movement input. We're going to go and duplicate this because we're going to need another one over here for our forward and back movement. And we'll also, while we're here, actor forward, get actor forward vector. Any of the movement things, this is just going to be in a chain because they're all triggering each other. All right, this is our forward and this is our left and right movement. Return value, roll direction. And to make this clean, we're going to do this and do a reroute. This, do another reroute. Scale value. Now for this over here, return value, roll direction. I'm going to have this right here, reroute. Boom, scale value. Okay, so now, and this should be set up correctly, my understanding, so basically like input, enhanced input action, IA movement. So that's referring to this right here generally, but this is like actually listed out how that works. So I might need to mess with the axes here, but what should happen is X and Y, or the X-axis, left and right, is going to be governed by A, which will be left. Set that to negate. So it's basically just, when I hit A, it'll go just, instead of adding to the X value, it'll be negating. So it'd be moving left, or it'll be like negative, I mean. So you'd be moving left, and then D, you just press D, and it'll be adding to the X value, and you'll be moving right along X axis. And it's basically the same exact thing for W and S, which have to be swizzled because we need to put the Y axis first. Let's see if this works. We're gonna save it, we're gonna compile, hit play. So first things first, our movement's working. If I hit W, if I hit S, A, D. Oh my God, it's working. Fuck. Oh my God, that took so much effort. It's where, dare I add a jump? Save that. Come back here, save, compile. Go back to our game, click in. I'm walking around, hit spacebar. And now I can jump. Oh, okay, we can move. We have a character and we're moving. And we're able to look around and see everything, and it's also, and this is all done in a way that, like, you know, I'm just starting out and I don't have like a guarantee here, but like I feel like this is a much better setup for getting all of this working than going through and like going to project settings and then changing all the input stuff here, like into, because it looked like an absolute mess what they were doing. Hold on, I feel like I can show you what I kept seeing. Like, you know, and nothing against these people, but like this looks like a mess. This looks like a total mess. Like having to do like this, it just looks really not helpful. But like this system is so much more streamlined. All I have to do is just reference the mappings that I made, which like just reference like the general movement stuff. So like the actual like act of looking and moving and jumping are stored in these input action things, and the mappings are stored here, and we can I assume like have an option later on to change what the control mappings are. Yeah, so going through, if I look at this blueprint for the player, whenever the look action is used, and that is just, it's defined by this, like anything, this is we're calling the look action, like just literally anything using the mouse, it spits out the y-axis to the yaw input, spits out the y-axis, or sorry, the x-axis to the yaw, the y-axis to the pitch, and yeah, and that controls those. Same thing with the movement. If it will keep track of this module right here, and if WASD are pressed, and also like WASD have like specific little things that I've like altered for each one. If any of those are pressed, basically it'll just do the movement input, and then it's just the get actor right vector, forward vector, direction and world space to apply input. Okay, I think this makes sense. And then apparently there's just a jump thing. Okay, yeah, and that's how that works. And then the player controller here, it's literally just checking that there is a mapping context, the mapping context which we have right here that we can use, and then it's just saying to use it when the game starts. Okay, I'm gonna save this. Okay, so God, outro. This, I feel like, was like the first actual proper day, like our first introduction to the blueprint system and how it's working, and just like getting a character to move. I want to say, like, compared to working with C#, I feel like I was able to get C# up and running faster, but it's just C# I went through a lot of tutorials for, and then the blueprint thing is a lot more intuitive, just looking at it and understanding how things works, or how things work and how things relate to each other, because it's literally visually mapped out, which is so nice. It's so much easier to look at, and just like I said, quickly understanding how the whole entire thing works. So much better. Okay, this is gonna take forever to edit down because I was working for so long. But yeah, that is day 7 officially done. Hello, looking at oh my god, it's been a long day. It's been a long week. Looking at last week's video and reading some of the comments that some of you lovely people have left for me, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Nubicus Productions. I am back, and I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy that you're happy that I'm here. So, cool. The Gum Reaper says, that's a really good explanation, and I'm gonna assume you're not being facetious. Last week I was trying to explain my thought behind how my first game would work, like the spooky cave game kind of thing, and also especially trying to figure out how the puzzles, or sorry, how to categorize the puzzles and how I was going to build up the mechanics for those. From the game design document I had, there's a section with game mechanics, and you write each one out like, oh, you can walk and you're able to do this and this and this thing, and you can combine these together, blah, blah, blah. But the game I'm working on doesn't really work in the same way. It's like each little puzzle that you're finding in the world is its own little contained game that you have to learn the mechanics and logic of. I hope I explained it well enough. And then finally, Mr. Oliver Dive 9759, welcome back. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you've stuck around this far. But he also goes on to say, I'm really excited about this. While you were away during the past year, I started my own journey learning Unreal Engine 5, even though my PC is a potato. There's a great 5-hour tutorial by Unreal Engine 5 Sensei that covers everything you need to get started. It's divided into sections so you can jump to any part, but I recommend watching it from the beginning. It's organized in a very clear and structured way. I believe it'll help you a lot. First of all, I'm really glad you're enjoying the videos and stuff, and it's really cool that you're like starting to learn Unreal Engine 5, even though your PC is a potato. Like, I have totally been there, and I get it, and it's but it's still possible. The entire intent of this channel, well, half of it was giving me a more structured way to learn game development, but the other half is just kind of showing the process of like someone starting from absolutely nothing, from absolute zero, and then being able to push through it anyway and build something up from scratch, from not knowing anything. And if I can inspire other people to get into game development through that whole process, like, that's great. that's sick. Oliver Dive, like, good luck. And thank you so much for the comment. And I did see the tutorial video, and we will come back to it, even though we didn't quite use it for this one. Day 7 in the bag, even though the video's coming out a bit late because I had a busy week. Day 8, looking at actually making ourselves a little level. Thank you so much for watching. I will see y'all next week on Friday. It might be a little delayed, but I'll see y'all next week, and we're gonna make something cool. Or just fine, either one. All right, see ya.